Everyone, KJ has rolled out of bed, as you can plainly see. I've had a tough couple of weeks. Wayne comes in one evening and tells me he's bought a $300,000 house and that he wants to flip it, and he does this every 5 to 7 years. And who does he have going down there to pick colors out and say what must come and go? It's a 4-bedroom house, 2 bath. He's going to add another bathroom. It's got a garage, wraparound porch. It needs some help, some serious help. And the people that moved out left stuff stacked to the ceiling in the garage and throughout the house. And so we had to get a dumpster out there. Y'all, the life of just a, I don't know, every day of my life seems a little bit different. How's everybody doing? Y'all, I'd like to say that I'm sorry that I haven't gotten with y'all. Maybe I'm saying I'm sorry so that we could talk about a few things today. Namely, the Donna Adelson sentencing, which will be happening here my time at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Some of y'all will have different times. I've posted on the community wall. Surviving the Survivor is going to have a live broadcast of it, but if you don't like them, you can always go to Law and Crime to check it out. Here are the questions that we're going to be answering today, y'all. Why should Donna show remorse when she still has federal appeals? Why would Donna want to make a statement of innocence? Why would anyone come in there today that's friends with her, this Ann Cunningham, other people, and testify on her behalf about her character when it does no good in her sentencing because she has a mandatory life sentence for first-degree murder? I want to talk to y'all today about it being a two-edged sword. That Donna, she can deny and talk about how good she is. She can deny what she did. Two-edged sword on the other side, she is going to be showing everyone she has no remorse. Ultimately, y'all, she's going to get a life sentence regardless. You know her age and all of that. We want to touch on compassionate release. I know that's putting the cart before the horse there, but we want to do that. But for the most part, bear with me. We're going to talk about remorse. We're going to talk about all them times that any of us have told somebody, I'm so sorry, even though I'm sorry that happened to you. I had nothing to do with it, or just saying I'm sorry, you're going through this. How about regret, huh? For those that have got their earbuds in or are traveling down the road right now to my loud ass voice and all that, I want to talk to y'all about something. But it would be so easy for me to sit here and say, she has no remorse. Donna has no remorse. She's not sorry. She doesn't regret anything. And then I say, see y'all later. There's the summarization. You know that's not how this channel rolls. What I'm going to do, and I've put a lot of thought and effort into it, I'm going to share with y'all something that I've been remorseful for 26 years. I've asked God to forgive me of it. I know He's forgiven me of it, but I have remorse for it, and I'm going to share a story with you before we go into Donna Adelson. Some of y'all know that OKJ has got defects out the ass. You know, over the years, I've shared little bits of this, that with y'all. Well, OKJ wants to share something that happened to me. And then we'll go into Donna's sentencing today, along with whether or not she can get compassionate release. But before we do that, I want to say hello to all of y'all. Beach Lady, hello. Sugar Butt Starburst. Jet Set J, hello. Fancy Nancy, thank you so much for modding. Sugar Butt Starburst, thank you for modding. NF Mom, good morning from Chile, Wyoming. My phone says it's 21 right now. Oh my goodness. It's a little chilly here. It's probably mid-50s right now. That's why I'm wearing long sleeve shirt here instead of my gown there. Oh yeah, Jet Set Jay. Glad to see us all back together again. I'm so glad y'all were patient with me. Good morning, Stephanie Willow. Good morning, Tina Reddington. Okay, so y'all bear with me because I promise you, once we get through this today, I'll have comments after the sentencing later on. I could just go ahead and tell you right now, I feel like Donna will address the court. I do believe she will say she's innocent. I do believe people will come in and say how much of a wonderful person she is. But remorse is a deep internal feeling of guilt and regret for a wrong act, while sorry is a word used to express regret or apologize, which may or may not be accompanied by remorse. Remorse involves a psychological anguish, and y'all gonna know all about psychological anguish when I share with y'all what I'm remorseful for. And a desire to make amends, and I feel like I've made amends, and we'll get there. Whereas sorry can simply be an expression of sadness, politeness, or regret for a negative outcome, even when it doesn't involve any wrongdoing. So many of us, I would say all of us, at some point or another has told someone else, when someone has shared a story with us or something has happened to them, we're like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you or whatever. And we had nothing to do with it or anything. Y'all, there have been times in my life that I felt responsible for things that I had nothing to do. I felt guilt and shame. Well, guess what, y'all? My therapist says when you have childhood trauma, you often blame yourself for anything that anybody does. I don't use childhood trauma as a crutch because I've rose above it, moved forward with it in my life. But the bottom line is somehow, some way, all these things culminate or have culminated in my life that where I've done a lot. Y'all, I've mistreated people. I've done bad things in my life. And I've asked God to forgive me, and I've made amends to the best of my ability. But to get this across to everyone, and I'm sure you already know all this, but let's just go through it together. Do I have regret? Do you have regrets? And while you're at it, can you think of the times in your life where you felt genuine remorse? Regret is a feeling of sadness over a past decision that I've made or you've made, often focused on the negative consequences for who, y'all? The negative consequences for oneself. That is something I tried this day and time. Back then, I didn't know all this shit. This day and time, I try not to have regret because it's attached to me basically thinking about myself, okay? You would think, oh, I have lots of regrets. And yes, I'm still shedding these regrets in my life. I'm not sitting here telling you that I don't have regrets, because I do. But I'm trying and I'm focused on saying, why would I want to regret something simply for my own benefit, right? But remorse is deeper, y'all. Remorse is deeper, more intense feelings of guilt and shame of hurting someone else. And I've got lots of that in my life. I do. If I look back over my life, I have lots of remorse for the things that I've said and I've done to other people. Again, I could sit here, look you in the eye and say, oh, it's because these terrible things happened to me when I was a child that this happened. Folks, I'm an adult today. The times that I did wrong to other people, I knew right from wrong, but I chose it anyway, regardless of what was going on inside of me, that triggered it, that made me not want to think clearly enough to say, you can't be hurting others like this. And remorse, y'all, it involves just a strong sense of moral responsibility, and often includes a desire to make amends, whereas regret can be more focused on the self and a wish to have made a different choice. And y'all, I know myself good enough, and I'm sure you know yourself good enough, on whether or not you've had that strong sense of guilt or shame inside of you. And maybe some of y'all don't have any remorse or regret or anything like that. Maybe you haven't gotten there yet. But I guess the question is Donna Adelson, does she have any remorse at all for what she has been convicted of? Well, I guess it starts out, and y'all know I'm an old country girl. You know I don't hold any licenses as doctor, psychologist, or anything like that. But folks, would I be wrong by having an opinion that Donna is narcissistic? A narcissist struggles to answer questions that require acknowledging their flaws. Do you think Donna's going to get up at sentencing and acknowledge her flaws? Taking responsibility. Is she going to take responsibility today? Expressing. Is Donna going to get up there today in her sentencing, if she makes a statement and expresses genuine empathy, remorse, admitting her fault, or confronting her own vulnerability? Narcissists do not do that. They do not at all. And besides that, if you didn't think Donna Adelson was narcissistic, do you really think that she would get up and tell everyone, yes, I did this, it was so misled, I just wasn't thinking clearly, or I was blinded, or however? I mean, she has no explanation, right? But she has all that money for federal appeals, and the fact that her son Charlie Adelson has already made a short statement at his trial upon his conviction at his sentencing saying, I'm innocent. Donna's going to do the same. Now, whether or not she's going to go to town and talk her ass off about whatever she wants to talk about, it will all be veered toward, I didn't do this, I don't understand why all this happened, my family's ripped apart, whatever. It's all going to be Donna. Me. So, in order for OKJ to really put myself there, I can only have what, y'all? I surely don't know what it feels like to hire someone to kill my son-in-law, which, I don't have to hire somebody to kill somebody, another human being, simply for my own selfish desires and to have control. All right, y'all, here it goes. All right, now, I don't care if anyone wants to judge me on this. I don't care. I made a decision that I am going to put this forward. When I was 18 years old, I got pregnant by my ex-husband. We were both kids. And we tried to do the right thing back then. We got married. And our immaturity, our stupidity, our ignorance, was alive and well for the first few years of our marriage. We were so young, we were trying to find ourselves. We were working jobs. I think I was working at a steakhouse. I was the one that broke down the salad bar at the end of the night. And he was working. He was working at a Kroger, actually, in the seafood department. And we still were young and wild and all of that, but I got through my pregnancy, and lo and behold, I got pregnant again, my second son, and things were on and off with us. I kept going home to my mother, which was 2 hours away. It just wasn't working the way that I thought it was going to work. And finally, in September of 1998, y'all. He said, let's get back together. Let's raise these kids. I was living with my mother. I was all for it. We came back together, and I moved to where he was at. And he got a real good job at a bread company making bread. And I stayed home with the kids. And for the first year there, things were good, I thought. We were doing all the right things in my view, I thought. We weren't out here doing stupid stuff. He was working all the time. I was at home with the kids. Yes, we were low income, but we were making it. So that was September of 98. In November of 99, my brother was murdered. And it was really tough for me. And I got through it the best I knew how, which, by the way, if you want to talk about forgiveness, I faked it till I made it. I sent this guy, he got 25 years to life. I sent him a letter telling him I forgave him. I had to do it because it was tearing me up inside. At the time, now looking back, I really didn't forgive him. I was just going through the motions of forgiving him. And Kevin, my ex there, he was doing the best he knew how to do. We were young, you know. Well, he decided that he wanted to go on vacation for a week. He was going to take a coworker guy with him. I met the coworker guy, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to go to Las Vegas," is where they were going to go. And I was like, you know, he's working his butt off. Let him go. He's got a week paid vacation. He wants to go with his guy friend. Let him go. Have a good time. I was all for it. So the thing was he was going to come back, and after, you know, I think 6 days or whatever, and he was going to go immediately into work and then come home late that night because he worked like second shift or something like that. And I was about an hour from his work. Well, I had gone all that week without a vehicle. We only had one vehicle. And it was my vehicle. It was in my name. My mother helped me get it, but he was the one driving it. And I asked my neighbor, I said, will you drive me to the bakery to get my car so that I can go to the grocery store? Because I knew he would get off work and then I could pick him up. And he wouldn't answer in his phone. And so I got the neighbor to take me over to the bakery, and I had an extra set of keys. And I got in the car, and the driver's side door was open, and I was fixing to put my feet in there, and he comes out across the parking lot and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I got to get to the grocery store. I'll be back to get you." I'd hugged him and everything like that. He said, "Well, I got to get some stuff out of the trunk." And so I sat down in the driver's seat. I pushed the button to the trunk. I saw through the rearview mirror that the trunk popped open, and I couldn't see what was going on there. And y'all, this crazy feeling, just this feeling inside of me, just, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like I had any definite, it was just a feeling. And I got up out of the car. I walked around to the back of the car, and as my eyes looked right into the trunk, I saw a woman's overnight carrying pink bag with another bag with hairsprays and perfume and all of this stuff. And I just stood there, and I was like, "What is this?" And he didn't say anything. And I started looking at it, and it was a woman's he went on vacation with another woman, a 19-year-old girl. So I proceeded to start throwing her stuff across the parking lot, busting perfume bottles across the parking lot, yelling and upset. She comes out, And I got up in her face and I said, let me tell you something. I said, you're going to leave us be until we get through a divorce. If I catch you with him one time until our divorce is final, I said, you're going to give me my respect. And I told her, I said, I'll whoop your ass. Then I walked off, got in the car, and as I left out, he had this great big, the CDs of music at home. He had every album of everything. I rolled down the window. I said, when you get home, your shit's going out in the yard along with your CD collection. I went home, took every CD out of its case, threw it across the yard like frisbees. Long story short, within that next couple of weeks, he moved out into an apartment. And that didn't go well either. I'm getting to it. Just bear with me. So I got up one Sunday morning. I'd been going to church. How ironic, huh? I'm going to church and this is the stuff I choose to do. I go over to his apartment and the door was unlocked. He's still my husband. I'm running low of gas money. I need some gas money to make it to church. I am dressed for church. My 2 children were in the car waiting on me. I'm walking up to the door. I opened the door. I did not know that she was going to be in there. I just thought he moved out to clear his head, he said. I walked in and I looked down and I seen there was some menthol cigarettes on the thing there and some put out buds or whatever, and I knew he didn't smoke menthol. I walked back to the end, he's sitting there telling me to get out and all this. I'm like, I walk back there to the bathroom, the door is locked. Y'all, you ever heard of those people that there's been a car crash and the person is able to remove the car off the person because of their adrenaline? Y'all, it was like paper mache. That bathroom door, along with the framing, it was like I saw red. And she's sitting on, it was like in pieces. And that door came off along with the frame, and he's standing behind me trying to pull my hair back, hitting me in the face while he's pulling me back to get me to move back. And she's sitting on the edge of the dang bathtub like this. And it was like, I didn't care. It was like a open air tackle. And I landed on her in the bathtub. And I started beating her like you wouldn't believe, y'all. She wore glasses, and I knocked her glasses right off her face. I'm talking, y'all, if you've ever felt like you had no control at all, I did not have control. Well, he kept pulling me back and punching me in the face, and he finally pulled my hair, got me back in there, which put him up against the wall behind me. I turned around. And to this day, I remember how loud that slap. I slapped him right across his face and walked out the door. Now, you would think, okay, Jay, I could see how you would have remorse for all the violence that you caused this woman. This was before he got her pregnant, by the way, while we're still married with 2 kids. I did something bad. This is 26 years ago, so I don't think it's going to come back on me, but if it does, maybe I deserve it. I did this, and I'm just going to tell y'all what I did. I got scared. I got scared because he had left me, and I was afraid he was going to take my kids away from me by calling the police. And here in Tennessee, it's whoever files first to say somebody's assaulted you. I was scared he was going to take my children away from my stupid ass decision that I made. This had nothing to do with remorse or anything. At the time, it was regret. It was all about me. But I was thinking about those kids. So I went to the police station, and before I got out of the car, I ripped my dress, my own dress, and walked in there and told them that she attacked me. And they arrested her. And in my mind at the time, it was like, if he could take he took my whole marriage away. He ain't taking my children. And these are the thoughts that I was having back then. I lied to the police. 26 years ago, I lied to them. Long story short, he kept coming by after her arrest. She got out. He kept coming by, telling me he wanted to make up with me. Had sex with me for several weeks, and during those times, he would tell me, just drop the charges. Let's just get on with our life together. Just drop those charges against her. And the whole time he was coming to the house telling me he was going to get back with me and having sex with me and all of that, he was just trying to get me to drop the charges. And as soon as I dropped them, which was really actually a good thing that happened, because I didn't feel right about it. I just was thinking about the kids. I dropped the charges, and as soon as I dropped them, he was gone. So I have remorse over all of that. What I did to her, I've since, it's been probably maybe 5 or 10 years ago, I've told her I was sorry and all of that, and we seem to get along okay now. And Jay Blake says, you had to, they could have took your children, you did right. I've lost my grandson because I didn't lie. Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right, Jay Blake. And I appreciate your support on that, but y'all got to understand something. That's the tip of the iceberg, y'all, on the things that I've done to hurt other people and that I have genuine remorse for. Would it matter that I still feel remorse 26 years later? Let me tell you something. If you're remorseful for something and you've done everything you can to make amends, and if you're a faith believer and you've asked God to forgive you and you sincerely believe that, then you can only do what you can do. But to have genuine remorse, y'all, it's a gift from God. To feel that guilt, to feel that shame. Wonder what it would be like if this world was all about just regretting. You know? It's a good thing. It's a hurtful thing. It's a self-inflicted thing. And as I told you this story, look at Donna. Look at Donna and Phil Markel saying, was it worth it? Will there be any remorse? Hi, Teresa. So back to Donna, and the reason I share that story with y'all is I don't want to get on here and say, Donna she's never going to show remorse, and she's not sorry about nothing, and she's a narcissist. Folks, I'm putting myself out there so that I don't look like some freaking righteous indignation shit. I'm telling the truth about something that I did that I'm very genuinely remorseful for. And there's so many things, y'all. If I shared those things with you, number one, you probably leave this channel, which is your right. Number two, it'd probably make the hair on the back of your neck stand straight up. I've been down the road. I considered, and still do to this day, that life where I felt chained to the floor with all my sin and all the things that I have done, all the wrong decisions that I knew would hurt other people. And it's through confession, to confess with my mouth, that those chains loosen up, and eventually I'm able to stand up, but only for the time being. I have to learn lessons, even at 54 years of age. And Donna, at her age, what will she say today if she says anything? And the people that come in to testify on her behalf today, because that's what they're reporting. There'll be people come in, I guess character witnesses. for every wonderful thing they say about Donna, where's the remorse? Where's the remorse? Because ultimately, we're going to get to it, but folks, the whole record, the whole adjudication of Donna Adelson's case, that includes what she does and says today. She shows no remorse. She'd be better not to say anything. Anybody in their right mind would think I've got appeals, right? It's easy for me to say I'd get up there if I was in her position and say, yes, I did this. Just as I have shared and confessed what I have remorse for. But you know and I know that's not really how it works. How would it be if the Judge Everett, or the prosecutor, or even her own defense attorneys asked her these questions? What part of this, Donna Adelson, is your responsibility? Or can you take responsibility for your actions? Well, y'all, Donna she'll have difficulty accepting her blame because she believes she's always right. She will deflect, she will project, or she'll blame others to avoid admitting the fault. Aside from her, I hope her advice from her defense attorneys that she doesn't need to be saying anything about her being to blame for anything because she has an appeals process. Or how about the question to Donna, and it would never be asked, but these are just ways for OKJ to demonstrate this whole idea of where Donna is right now. How about Donna Adelson, how did you feel when you decided to do this? She'll show lack of empathy. She will be unable to understand or relate. She won't even address anything about her own vulnerable feelings in relation to being to blame for it. She will express her vulnerability of her feelings if it's going to serve her to, in her mind, think that people are going to hear that poor Donna's the victim here. Donna didn't do this. Donna didn't do this. And make no mistake, y'all, Donna Adelson knows this is a high-profile case and that probably millions of people are going to be listening today at her sentencing. So, in my opinion, and y'all know I'm wrong about a lot of things, she's going to get up there and she's going to, I did this good and I did that good and I love my grandchildren and I would never do this and I would never do that. But will she give an explanation for why her son has been convicted with overwhelming evidence, and with her herself having overwhelming evidence? How do you play that? How will Donna display the contributions of the two hitmen, Catherine McManawal, and even her own son, Charlie Adelson? She will not struggle at all, y'all, to put the blame on the hitman and Catherine McManawal for sure. Will she even address that my son Charlie is innocent too? And if a judge could ask Donna Adelson, what would you have done different next time? Or why do you think this has happened? I guess it comes down to the same question of Phil Markell asked him, was it worth it? She could get up there and say, you know, there's no worth it to it. I had nothing to do with this. Remember, y'all, she's got money. And she will have money. She will have money to do the legal jumping through hoop shit that I absolutely believe that she will hire attorneys on one day down the road to give her compassionate release. But unfortunately for Donna, in the state of Florida, it's not going to be what she thinks it's going to be. I think we can all safely assume that Donna's not going to show any regret in terms of hurting someone else. Remember what regret is. Regret is something that really she regrets getting caught, right? I could have just said that. I could have just said, well, she's going to show regret according to the definition. It's all about her, right? But why not learn as we go along? You know, justice through understanding means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And what some people find tedious or boring or whatever, others might have a genuine interest in. I've learned these things. I want to share them. But across studies, y'all, about 1/3 of inmates express regret in their last statements. Criminal regret, y'all, criminal regret, not just regret, criminal regret or remorse is a deep, painful feeling of regret for doing something that some criminals experience, while others lack it, often feeling only regret for being caught. True remorse can be a mitigating factor in sentencing and can indicate a lower likelihood of reoffending, which, y'all, if they let Donna Adelson out of jail today, I don't think for a second that old woman would go on to reoffend or be a threat to anyone. I just don't. Some would say, okay, Jay, she contracted that murder. That's what she wanted. What if she finds something else she wants? She might decide to do it again. Y'all, common sense. If this woman got out, there wouldn't be no reoffending. Let's put aside the fact she's getting a life sentence without parole. Let's look at the other ones. Conspiracy and solicitation, which really isn't a hill of beans because she's got a life sentence. But perhaps she is trying to negate the conspiracy and solicitation in order to set up what, y'all? A more of a federal appeal and eventually compassionate release. Not all criminals experience remorse. Some are cold-blooded and unmindful of their impact, while others may only feel regret for the negative consequences they themselves face, such as being caught, which I said. Remorse can be a factor in mitigation to get a lighter sentence, but it would only be for those two other sentences. In my opinion, I believe Judge Everett's going to lay the hammer down just like they laid the hammer down with Charlie Adelson. But y'all, let's get an overall environmental view of this. This might happen again, not this particular crime, but some other case that you're studying, which would go to, well, we talked about remorse. We talked about regret. We talked about mitigation. We talked about, compassionate release. We talked about all of this shit. And it might help you down the road, and maybe it won't. It can be an indicator of rehabilitation. Donna does not need to be rehabilitated because she's not coming out of prison, but like I said, this is something else she might deal with down the road. Ultimately, y'all, in terms of legality and the criminal law and the studies that have been taking place in criminal law, criminal justice over a long period of time, I can sum it up like this when it comes to remorse in sentencing, okay? And that is evaluating, looking at genuine remorse can be difficult, requiring evidence and careful assessment of the individual's emotions, shame, or guilt. And you will not get any shame or guilt from Donna Adelson today, but you're going to get plenty of freaking narcissistic, in my opinion, emotion, because she is going to, if she does make a full-fledged statement, it's all going to be regret. She regrets. She's not going to say, I regret getting caught. She's going to feel that sense of regret that she freaking didn't have her ducks in a row. But folks, let's just be clear, 9 or 10 years, she lived with the fact that her and Charlie Adelson and possibly Wendy and Harvey, but for sure Charlie and Donna, they both knew for 9 or 10 years that they had accomplished this and thought they got away with it. And the jail phone calls, not the jail phone calls, the wiretaps that had nothing to do with specific guilty statements, but other things unrelated things that they were talking about. They were so giddy and happy about life. Oh, I bought this. I want this apartment, but it's so frivolous. And Charlie's like, oh, Mom, get what you want. You only live once. You only live once. He says this, and Donna's giddy and laughing about it. Oh, I know. And yet it doesn't cross their mind that Dan Markell only had one life to live, and they snuffed it out. That shows you the cold-blooded nature. No remorse. None whatsoever. And I've seen it, y'all, in the last couple of weeks. What the latest news, showing Charlie berating a correctional officer, and Donna, before her conviction and after her conviction. Folks, when she's in that wheelchair after her conviction, and they're wheeling her in, and she's like, when she's doing all that, do you think she's even thinking about those grandsons of hers that don't get to have their dad there? Is she crying and hyperventilating and acting like it's the end of the freaking world after knowing that she is the reason that Dan Markell was murdered brutally? It's all about Donna. It's always going to be about Donna, and you know this. These little talking points of everyone online, whatever social media platform. So someone on here, and y'all know I'm terrible at remembering, but you know who you are, brought up about this compassionate release. I think it might have been Fancy Nancy, but I'm not sure. Here you go, y'all. Florida does not have state-level compassionate release program. Period. In a sentence. But federal inmates may petition for it under the First Step Act. Inmates must first ask the Bureau of Prisons to file a motion for them. If the request is denied or there's no response within 30 days, they can file a motion with federal court. Now that sounds weird, doesn't it? They don't have a compassionate release program, but one of the steps in order to get into the federal system is to ask the state for compassionate release, in which there is a denial. Then you can go on to the federal courts. The First Step Act, as some of y'all remember, that was put into place, signed into law under the Trump administration in 2016. Maybe some of y'all remember Kim Kardashian. She was the one that was lobbying for that. The First Step Act is what it is, right? But under the federal system, and again, she's going through federal appeals too, right? So the eligibility and criteria, and this is really good to know. You can go to all kinds of channels and hear the juicy stuff about Donna Adelson and all this and that we already know, or we could actually learn something. Inmates with terminal illnesses or severe debilitating medical conditions are eligible. Now, does anyone remember Donna Adelson at pretrial? I need a certain kind of shot in my arm or my back. I've got this sciatic nerve thing. She's dealing with all this right now. What is she going to do in 10 or 20 years, huh? If she lives that long, right? Another eligibility requirement Donna Adelson meets. She's 70 years of age or older. But here's the kicker. You ready? She's got to be 70 years of age or older, but under the federal system, if she was to get in there, and trust you me, Harvey, as long as he's alive or whatever, they got the money to do it. Donna's going to try everything she can to get out of prison. 70 years of age or older, but she's got to serve at least 30 years before she's eligible. So, it's a catch-22 there, y'all. She's got to serve at least 30 years. But just for an FYI, y'all, in cases where a family member who served as Donna's primary caregiver while she's in prison, because you have a primary caregiver outside of prison who's a family member or someone that your attorney gets or something, if they die or become incapacitated, the inmate may be eligible. There's other extraordinary circumstances that's written into the statutes there in federal code. In other words, they leave it open for people to petition and motion for the court. It's up to the court to decide whether it is extraordinary circumstances, okay? But the way to do it is you request the Bureau of Prisons by a motion for compassionate release. Then you wait for a response for 30 days. The inmate can file their own motion with the court. She don't even have to give her, more money to her attorneys there. She can file it herself. She has to have a comprehensive request. The comprehensive request includes medical records, a release plan, and other supporting documentation. Do y'all think that Donna Adelson couldn't provide that? She knew when Wendy scratched her own ass. She knew everything and anything, putting any little detail into daily planners. So this woman could come up with a comprehensive plan. But compassionate release is not common in Florida because the state primarily uses determinate sentencing system where inmates have to serve 85% of their sentence, making it difficult for most people to be released early. While other states in the federal system have seen an increase in compassionate release due to factors like COVID-19, Florida's structure makes it an uncommon path for early release compared to serving the mandatory sentence. There is a mandatory 85% rule, y'all. And compared to other systems, whether it's on a state or federal level and other states and all that, Florida has few other mechanisms for early release, meaning most inmates are released upon the completion of their sentence. And Donna will be released after she completes her life without parole sentence in a wooden box, in a body bag. That's what's going to happen. Maybe Donna should try a chin strategy. After sentencing, write a bunch of letters to someone and get them to publish her lies and narrative as truth. What a scam of justice. I'm telling you, Canyon Jam, I haven't seen anything else. Does anybody want to share with me anything else that old Chatty Boy has decided to write about? I mean, from what I remember we talked about before, every Tuesday and Thursday? It's going to be Chad's Corner, Chad's Musical Notes. Come on. Ann Gibson says, I still can't get over the fact how a grandmother could deny her grandsons their father. Very good comment there, Ann Gibson. Hi, everybody that showed up late. Kathy Benadero says, Donna is too self-centered to speak at sentencing. You think so? Because it's been reported that she's going to make a statement, and it's been reported that she's going to have people come in on her behalf to tell the judge how wonderful she is. I'm sure Ann Cunningham will be there. Do you think Wendy would show up? I doubt it. How about Rob there? Will he show up on behalf of his mother? Who knows? What qualifies for compassionate release is if they are too ill for the prison to look after, like old age detention, etc. But see, the situation with that, J. Blake, is think about all the people that have got life without parole. They're all going to get old. They're all going to get incapacitated at some point if they live that long, right? So they have to, by Florida law, 85%, or in other words, to be eligible on a federal level, which is the state does not have a compassionate release. The only mechanism that the state of Florida has is to allow a motion to go to the state, which denies it because they don't have compassionate release. You see, it's denied after 30 days. The state denies it. That's their mechanism. That's where the state is involved. They'll deny it. Then she can go into the federal system, which she has to complete at least 30 years. Or 85% of her. I mean, you do the math. What is life without parole for Donna Adelson? 85% or 30 years. James G says, remember the hussy said people would show up for her too, and not one. That's true, James. Or excuse me, Jamie G. I apologize. See, I'm good at apologizing for something that I didn't do wrong and you didn't do nothing wrong. I apologize. Well, I guess I did do something wrong. I said your name wrong, but it wasn't nothing morally wrong, right? I'm just an old country girl, right? Donna getting life no matter how you say it, says Journey to Get There. I like your name there, Journey to Get There. It's disgusting that Chad's daughter can publish these letters, still giving her murderous father a voice. Jamie, you're just going to have to give me a pass. Show a little empathy for old KJ. Or, you know, you don't have to show any remorse because there's nothing to be remorseful for. Apologies, sorry, regret. Do I regret all the times I've been wrong on this channel? If I do, it's only because I'm thinking of me, right? Regret entails being, I guess, sorry in yourself for what you've done. Jamie says, my whole life I've been called James. Well, okay, James. But it says Jamie G, so I don't know. Have you noticed they never show remorse or regret if they have a family member believes in their innocence? Well, J. Blake, I believe that anytime that any of us have watched trials where someone's been convicted with overwhelming evidence, like, for instance, Emma, Chad's daughter, I think they choose to believe in their innocence because it's easier for them internally to believe that than believe the truth of him being a murderous piece of crap. And you know, on the flip side of that, does Wendy and Rob think Donna's guilty or not guilty? How about Charlie? Does Charlie think that mommy dearest there is innocent? I think Charlie Adelson should have went with his gut. Should have, just like he says on his jail phone call, I should have went with my gut. He says it more than once. He should have never done it. Never let mama talk him into it. He should have went with his gut, and during all that time, all those years before the bump there, he should have took off. Found him a good Vietnamese woman. Yeah, you know, if the catch-22 in all of it is all of us, I really believe it. I think we want to see remorse in these terrible, terrible high-profile cases. These just evil, diabolical cases. We see little bits of it in lower crimes with people that are so just remorseful and crying and upset, and it's not an act. I've seen it, not with everyone, but here and there I've seen it. But you never see it with any of these high-profile cases. And the reason is, y'all, is they've got that backstop of the appeals process where their attorneys are saying, we're gonna get you out of this. We're gonna get into this appeal. Well, Judge Everett has already told Donna on a state level, nope. These YouTubers or these TikTokers or whatever, that's, you know, the evidence was overwhelming, which is way overwhelming other than what these people did. Of course, an appeals court is going to look at his ruling that no, she does not get another trial. But, I just don't see Judge Everett being wrong about any of it. And then, of course, y'all know Chad's got appeal. He says he's working on his appeals, right? Then you got Lori. She's got appeals out here and all this and that. And it's just so easy to stay enmeshed in all of that. But it keeps people from confessing with their mouth. It keeps them from feeling that genuine remorse. In fact, they can feel that. Let me just be clear to y'all. I love you. I truly love you. And I know that many of you, if not all, have felt remorse at least once in your life. And if you have felt remorse, you need to just be happy about that. Because remorse is not a fun thing to feel, but it shows you've got a heart. It shows that you have that inside. Nobody wants to feel guilt. Nobody wants to feel shame. But it's during those times of feeling guilt and shame or remorse that we have the opportunity to become better people from it. That if we truly travel and navigate through that within ourselves, if we know ourselves good enough and try our best to get out of ourselves long enough to really do what we can to have empathy, which is different than feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is maybe you didn't kill somebody. So how in the world can you emphasize? How can you show empathy if you haven't done what they've done? But I think that you can really get in there and say, I don't know what it feels like to do that. But you can almost feel that sense inside of you that says that's just got to be a terrible place to be. It's got to be a most awful place to be. Folks, if I didn't have some kind of remorse or sympathy or empathy or I'm sorry or anything like that, what kind of person would I be? I mean, never to feel bad for other people with what they're going through. Just not feeling that. And there's plenty of people walking around today that don't feel that. Thus, we have these criminal cases where they murder innocent lives, do terrible things to just terrible stuff. Hello, Leanne Forsberg. Stacy Santa Maria makes a good point. To be remorseful would be admitting guilt. So, okay, so Donna has her appeals and maybe she doesn't want to admit her guilt. But do you think that Donna has it within her, the capacity? Maybe she doesn't want anyone to see it, that she really is genuinely remorseful. That when Phil Markel says, was it worth it? She wasn't thinking in her mind, no, it wasn't worth it because now I don't get to go back to my high rise with Harvey. No, maybe deep down, I'm just throwing this out here. She's like, I should have never done this. This was terrible. I can't believe I did this. It's so hard to try to put yourself into that situation and say, how could someone, that's got to be awful, just like with Lori. To know that she's got to live every day of her life knowing she murdered her own children. I'm assuming by her behavior so far, have any genuine remorse if she is doubling down on, I didn't do anything wrong. When Chad Daybell is doubling down, I didn't do anything wrong, but neither one of them want to say, okay, we didn't do it, but this is who did it. I know Lori's kind of like alluding to Alex and everything, but Chad's never given an explanation, and he can't say he didn't know. He was in the middle of all that. You don't go from my hooker over here that I am having an affair on my wife with, has 2 children, and then one day they're just not there. And she gives me no explanation. And I'd give no explanation, even if she did, that I'm going to protect her by not talking to police and telling them, listen, her and her brother did this to these children, and I can't believe this happened. And I would just trying to protect her, but I can't protect her anymore. No, he was the freaking architect of the whole damn thing. He led her down that road, and she willingly chose to walk it. She knew what it meant. Ann Gibson says a narcissist will never admit they're wrong. And I agree with that, but I also say this. If a narcissist does say I'm wrong to somebody, it's in a way they'll add something to it to gaslight them. Like, yes, what I did, you caught me red-handed. But the reason I did it is because of you. If you would have been giving me more sex, I would have never went out here and slept with this 19-year-old and got her pregnant after almost 8 years of marriage. And did my ex-husband's new woman, the one he had kids with after we divorced and everything, which I took his ass to the cleaners, and I should really be more remorseful about what I did. Did she deserve that? I warned her. I told her, just let us divorce. Stay out of the picture. She didn't have enough trust in the man she was screwing to just let us get through the divorce. She just kept coming around. Well, she came around to this, and I regret it. But a part of me is like, she got what she deserved. Is that remorseful? Is OKJ sitting here telling all y'all I'm remorseful of what I did to this girl, but at the same breath, I'm like, she got what she deserved? No, she didn't get what she deserved. But I feel that way, and I want that to change. I want to acknowledge that. I don't want to hurt nobody, even if they've hurt me. You know, I don't want, in terms of self-defense, if somebody broke into this house, I mean, there's a gun in every room, folks. Somebody would be dead breaking in here trying to hurt my family or whatever. But I'd still feel bad for taking that life, even if they came in and tried to kill my ass. Any normal human being would have to live with, yes, they were coming at me with a knife, with a freaking Jason mask on, gonna kill my ass, and I had to pull the trigger. You think I wouldn't feel bad for taking human life? Because God created us all in his own image. Legally, I'd get away with it. But I wouldn't be able to. I mean, what else could I do, right? Self-defense. I mean, we've seen enough self-defense stuff going on out here in these trials that we listen to and in this crime genre and all that. Hi, Cindy Arnold. Donna to her daughter, I would never have done this if you didn't get divorced. There you go. Well, the way that Charlie and Donna talked on the jail phone calls when Charlie's asking Donna about, well, how's Wendy doing? I mean, you should really, you want to peek into the mind of Donna Adelson? Go listen. Just type it into YouTube. Charlie Adelson's jail phone calls with his mother. All you have to do is put Charlie Adelson's jail calls. I mean, him and Donna constantly talking. How everyone else is wrong. Tallahassee's wrong. They didn't deliberate. They had their minds made up. This was a sham. And all along, the evidence points quite clearly that both of them, as they're saying this shit out their mouth, they know in here that they did what they did. It's pathetic. They know it. Canyon Jam says this is what happens to greedy people who seemingly have everything, but it is never enough. That's okay, Cindy. It's all right. Okay, Jay, talked to the Rays specifically, but I love all of y'all. The bottom line is I do have remorse in my life. And if I got convicted of a terrible murder, there are some people that just plead guilty and go off to prison for the rest of their days. I would like to think I would do that. But the way that the judicial system is set up, they give the freaking perpetrators more rights than the victims. They give them more backstops, more hope. And this goes back to what I've said in the past, that man's law is not God's law. Man's law wants to mimic God's law, they want to do what they can to exhibit how God is by giving this hope, right? But there's only one true hope in my life. This is me. Just one true hope, and that is Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And I don't think man can, they can't match it. They can't do anything like Jesus did, because Jesus is perfect. And Gibson says, without remorse, you can't learn lessons from your mistakes. And that's a good answer. But also this, think about it like this. If narcissists do not have genuine remorse, they can learn lessons from their mistakes, but what vein are they learning that lesson? Not to get busted again, not to get caught again, not to take the blame again, or not to, I guess what you call, they will never take the blame. They don't learn that lesson because they have no real remorse, real empathy. How can you empathize, if you're a narcissist, how can you empathize or have feelings, deep feelings for someone who's going through something if you don't have those feelings yourself to be able to acknowledge that? So, when these criminals are all alone in their jail cell, do they have guilt and remorse? It just baffles my mind. Cindy, I think that, that's a speculation, but in my mind, if you want to compare it to the people that we've dealt with, like Lori or Chad or even Donna or Charlie or any of these people, I think they just kind of put that out of sight, out of mind type of attitude, and they get geared up for the people around them in prison so that they can control other prisoners, get what they want from other prisoners. It's their new life, their new existence. Let's find out what's on commissary, says Lori. Chad's like, I'm not going to talk about what goes on here on death row, because he knows that if he starts talking about stuff on death row, what's going to happen? He doesn't have that connection, that communication connection there anymore. They won't allow it. Remember what we talked about. He will have his free speech rights through Emma, but if he starts doing something that shows any kind of policy problems for the prison system, peniological policy there, his ass, they'll say, nope, ain't gonna do it. Or they'll start looking at his letters and saying, as long as it doesn't have anything in it, you can send that out. But as soon as you start talking about this, and they'll cut his damn knees off, figuratively speaking. Mandy McCracken says, I think they almost convince themselves of their innocence. It's the only way they can live with themselves. It's the only way they can live. And I'm talking about not the narcissist. I'm talking about other people that want to live in denial about it. It's the only way they can live with themselves is to block that out. And trust you me, y'all, anybody can block shit out. I've done it in my life. I'm sure you've done it where whenever that memory pops up in there, like, nope, not going to think about that. Not going to think about that. And you have some control over it. About your own thoughts and your own feelings and your own way of doing things. But, when you don't have feelings, normal feelings like a narcissist does or something like that, you have nothing, no reference there to help engage in any kind of sympathy or empathy or remorse. You just don't have it there to feel that. To see something that's done to someone else, to acknowledge what that has done. Phil Markel and Ruth Markel sitting there at, when she was convicted, talking about how it's affected all these families and stuff. Do you think Donna's really thinking about that at the time? She's over there doing this. Like, I didn't cause this. I didn't do any of this. One would have to believe that this is an innocent woman who's just been railroaded. And the evidence doesn't support that. How can you justify what you've done to the grandchildren? They were just innocent babies. Well, Kathy, in her mind, she thought she was doing something good. They were going to come where, y'all? They were going to come under her wing there. She could raise them. And by the way, narcissists, and I believe she is, this is an opinion, I'm no professional, but they see other people being of value if those other people can do what they need done. And in Wendy Adelson's case, Donna got to relive her youth. Donna Adelson pretended to be Wendy. She micromanaged Wendy. I'm sure she tried to do it with Rob, but he got out. And she sure as hell, she's the one. Donna's the one that defined who Charlie was as the helper, as the one who swoops in and saves the day. She's the one who over and over and over again set Charlie up to say, hey, Mom, look, I helped you with this problem. She absolutely, you think Donna was so, oh, I can't handle this. Charlie, you've got to do it for, she could have found a way. She was, I don't know, grooming her son to always take care of whose needs? Her own. That's what she was doing. And her needs also needed to be needed. She'd already raised her kids. Y'all know how I feel about this empty nest stuff. When my boys grew up and left, I thought I didn't know who the hell I was. Well, this was I don't know however you want to say it, fanatical, in my opinion. I mean, people can be a parent however they want to, you know. I'm just giving an opinion, but this woman was over the top about raising her children. And because she was so involved in her children's lives, when they went out on their own, the only way she could continue to have control of them is to continue to put them through that cycle. Let me set up the dating app here. I'll let Wendy know that I'm going to pick her, just like I helped her pick Dan Markell, and then we killed his ass. That would be a great thing to find out, Ann Gibson. How did Donna's mother raise her? That would be, I would love to know the answer to that. And I have yet to find any research or anything showing any of that. That would answer a lot of questions for me. Cindy Arnold says, even with the evidence presented right in their face, they still deny it. It is a great question. You know, I'm sure there are studies out there that show that this is something that goes on over, you know, generations and in this and that. I mean, y'all, I think about how my mother was to me, and this is kind of how I was to my own children. But of course, there are things that I didn't do that my mother, how my mother raised us, that would have been helpful and better for my children that I didn't do. But it goes back to this. If we listen to how our mother or our father, our parents raised us, and we did exactly what as they did, would we really be living our own life? There are traditions, there are values, there are things that somehow, some way get, I guess, over a long period of time. It's like when I was 18, when I got pregnant. Did my mother think that it was okay for me to have sex outside of marriage? No, right? But when I did get pregnant, what did I do? I got married. Because that's the way it was back then. You just tried to make the best of it. Looking back now, I could see how it would have become the way it did. I could see now why my ex-husband cheated on me. There was something that wasn't being fulfilled in him, and I'm not giving him a pass. I don't think that adultery is right, but then again, sex outside of marriage ain't right either. And in my view, sin is sin to God. You know, there's the unforgivable sin to blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, but in terms of sin is sin to God. So who am I anyway to say that he was the worst person in our marriage? Well, guess what, y'all? I wasn't exactly all that as a freaking Leave It to Beaver mother and wife. Hell, I was a freaking guitar and lead singer in a freaking rock band back then. Yeah? Could y'all see OKJ back then? I was wild as Cooter Brown. And I can still get wild, and many of y'all have witnessed that. Do I feel shame or embarrassment? Oh, hell yeah. I feel shameful and embarrassed sometimes when I tied one on with all of y'all. But the bottom line is that I'm who I am. And if I can show that the reality on this channel, the truth, I've always been real. It's not always been pretty. It sure as hell ain't always been entertaining, and it sure as hell, it's lacking. Isn't that just human nature, though? Does someone really need to stick to the script in order for people to get some kind of understanding through content? I guarantee you this. Ain't nobody lived the life you've lived. No one's lived the life that I've lived. There might be things that have happened to me that maybe the same exact damn thing happened to you, but it was how we took it at the time and what came of it at the time and what else did we do that nobody else has done. You know what I'm saying? We all have a story to tell. Isn't that the old cliche? Well, it's true. And my bet is always going to be real, even when I feel embarrassed or shameful or wrong, because I have been that my entire life, on and off. I can be ignorant, I can be stupid, but I can also get a little justice through understanding in the process. And sometimes just thinking about the times that I felt remorseful about things, knowing that if I truly felt remorse, then it would get me to a place of confession and ultimately forgiveness. And there's a real peace in that for me. I know that the Rays and others on this channel have accepted me, blemishes and all. And I feel the same way about all of y'all. And I thank y'all for all the support, the love, the care, the brilliance of your questions and your comments. I mean that sincerely. I know there's going to come a time that I'll get to that place where I realize all the things that I'm remorseful for. Not regret, just remorse. And as one of you said, God does know the heart. And that's a real comfort to me. It really is. Jennifer Gasukup says it. I hope you have a great day, KJ, and everyone else. And I love you all. Y'all, I put on the community wall the link to the sentencing here for Donna Adelson. We'll get together real soon on my reaction on whether she speaks or not. Just keep in mind what we talked about. We talked about remorse. We talked about regret. We talked about being sorry. We talked about a lot of things. And maybe you can apply them or maybe you don't want to. But justice through understanding has come to this channel. And I love you all. I thank you all for being just who you are. The only you're ever going to be. Y'all have a great day. Thank you, Fancy Nancy, Sugarbutt Starburst, and others for modding. I really appreciate it. It does a lot for everyone on this channel to be able to get together like this. So with that being said, have a great day, y'all. And keep on looking.